everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where my guests and I each picked a film related in some shape or form, and hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll have two movies to check out with hooks. Um, aggressively with hooks, but we'll get to that in a second. Joining me is the fearless leader here in the SPM crew. It is Mike Hilty.
I'm trying to say something clever with hooks, but I'm freezing. So, hello.
Mike's hooked on a feeling. He's so excited to be here.
Can't believe you right now. I can't believe you.
How many more hook puns can I, dab into this throughout the rest of this episode? We're going to find out. But why am I talking about hooks? We are not talking about a hook.
We're not talking about Peter Pan or Hook or anything like that at all.
No, that came out in the 90s too, but we're talking about two other 90s movies with hooked-handed people. One of them a little bit more grotesque than the other because, the other one usually had their hand replaced by a hook. These are two horror slasher films. We are talking about 1992's Candyman, and the Candyman can hook you for sure. And we have 1997's I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it had to do with a hook. So there we go.
The connections are just everywhere with this. So yeah, let's talk about them.
All those changes hooked together. So that was a stretch, but I went with it.
That's all good. I appreciate the swing.
You can really. Never mind. I'm not going to do it. We've had enough hook puns so far.
Coward, do it.
Hey, you could stretch a lot farther when you have a hook in your hand. So there you go. But 1992's Candyman, and this is directed by Bernard Rose, and this is co-written by. This is based on the book by Clive Barker. So, this is all coming from that crazy mind that brought us Hellraiser. Mm-hmm. And this is starring Virginia Madsen as Helen Lyle, which I'm like, I recognized her, and I'm like, wait a minute. He's from Sideways.
Yeah.
And the Candyman, a murderous soul with a hook for a hand, is accidentally summoned to reality by a skeptic grad student researching the monster's myth. So, Mike, I think the moral of the story is white people need to stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Well, it's funny. Well, no, it's not funny, but it's funny that the first time I saw this movie, I didn't pick up on any of that. In my defense, I watched this pretty young. And more importantly, this movie terrified me because it was set in Chicago. And this was back in the day when Cabrini Green was always in the news for something.
It was Candyman.
Yeah. Well, sure. Yes. Like mainly Candyman.
Oh, like you are a skeptic then. Better watch out.
I mean, leave me alone. It had me hooked for a little while, and I just, had to let it go eventually. But all of this to say, it wasn't until I watched it like in college where I was like, oh, this is saying a lot more about race and racial inequality and gentrification than I gave it credit for when I watched it, probably when I was like 8, 9, or 10. Because
fine, Mike.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sadistic like that. But for a horror movie,
wait, was this one of those things like South Park the movie?
Oh,
where it's just like this was shown to you way too young.
Well, the reason why I watched this one so young is because it was set in Chicago, and as someone who is like born and raised in the Chicagoland area, this movie is not like Untouchables level of legendary, but like it's pretty high up there in terms of like this is a Chicago movie through and through.
Mike, I see you have also watched movies way too young because of your culture as well. Mine just had to do with a bunch of Italian gangsters and stuff like that.
Naturally, it's I hear that there's like one or two of those around. So I got you.
There's one or two films about Italian Americans that are not about the mob. Um, but anyway,
Fair.
so
Yeah,
I need to know, is Bloody Mary the white people version of the Candyman? Or,
probably. It's
and
it's
also, I heard the most terrifying version is if you go into the bathroom and say Biggie Smalls 5 times. Because that South Park episode was amazing.
Oh, it was so good. Is that the one also where all the serial killers are acting like the Three Stooges?
Stooges, yep. And
Just
and Satan's throwing a birthday party. Like, what did he do? Which
Wah.
which
That did
Mike,
that
in
that didn't
hindsight,
that didn't
um
age well, or maybe it
no,
did age well,
no, it aged perfectly, Mike, because Satan would have a Diddy party.
right?
So, but anyway, Mike, what were your general thoughts on the actual film, all seriousness at this point?
Well, so it's got a lot to say, which I do
Yep.
appreciate. And Tony Todd is pretty high up there in terms of horror royalty at this point.
Mm,
Between this and Final Destination,
yeah.
um, just he's got such a presence about him. It's the voice, and it is just the way that he carries himself. He's just so creepy and ominous, and the way he speaks in this, it almost feels like borderline Shakespearean the way that he talks. It's very proper. It's very like poetic in a way,
Well, and
and it's
that's a
just
character trait of
mhm,
this character, right? When they
mhm.
go into like his backstory and stuff like that, is that he was a very well educated person and wound up being deformed and mutilated in this very grotesque way.
Um, this movie goes hard with some of the violence and the gore. Um, maybe not, definitely not as bad as like some other movies during this time, but like I
Oh, it
think
was
just
effective.
the graphic imagery that's in here. And this is just also one of those rare instances where it kind of subverts your expectations a little bit because the final girl doesn't, spoilers, she doesn't make it. So that's something that I kind of appreciated because it makes story sense, and it kind of makes it a little bit more effective to know that she doesn't make it out alive.
Oh, but she gets her
Oh, she gets she,
she gets some. Like,
and rightfully so. That's the way to do it. And what an idiot this guy is, who's like, I'm gonna say my wife's name 5 times, and she's been researching this Candyman mythology. So if I say her name 5 times,
she won't
nothing's gonna.
possibly, she would have no reason to kill me.
Yeah, absolutely
And
not. Just because
that
you're
was so satisfying
just
because
because you're, nailing a student in your class, or like a like, it's gross. It's just
he's already married to a young, attractive woman. And
mhm,
it's just like, ugh, what is she, 27 now?
maybe.
What,
Ew.
what's he, Leo? It's like, well, this one's expired. And then
Let's throw it out.
onto like, well, I can't date a grad student. They're too old. I need an undergrad. And like disgusting. So
Gross.
gross.
Yeah.
And Xander Berkeley is perfect as scumbag husband.
Perfect,
And
perfect amount of scumbag, but he's got some moments where he's like genuinely supportive of her when not so much when she's like being when she tries to gaslight the like everybody about like Candyman and how like, hey, we're gonna be on the map because of this. But it's when she's first arrested, like he's very supportive of her, and then
well, the second time she's arrested, he's not home because
conveniently,
banging his student.
naturally. But that also, like, the second incident happened at their apartment, and he comes back and is like, "Oh God, what is happening right now?"
That hit me because like what happens to her friend is
Mhm.
tragic, and like this film and Nia DaCosta does an amazing job of building off of that with the
Mhm.
legacy sequel of this,
Yeah.
which I I love that. I love that Candyman, which is so funny because I saw that and never saw the original.
Hmm.
But like watching this now, they really carry that imagery, the bees, the just Tony Todd, his whole attire, his presence, all of it. This like hidden apartment where like she walks through like a mouth in the wall and all the graffiti and stuff like that. They do such an amazing job of delineating between this high white society experience, this gentrified experience versus, everybody's just desperately trying to make ends meet.
Hmm.
And I felt so bad for that young mother.
Yeah.
And God, that scene where she wakes up in the bathroom and there's just blood everywhere. And like I was so afraid that like it's sad that I would go to this direction, but it's 2000, almost 2026 as we're recording this. I thought the cops were going to shoot that young mom because she was fighting back, and I'm like, oh God, no.
Well, not only that, because you would think that something like that was going to happen, especially since she had a knife as well, or a cleaver. I'm sorry, a cleaver.
A cleaver.
So,
But
oh, yeah.
there's so many bloody moments. The slasher elements of this film, they
They
hit.
hit.
They
Yeah.
hit for sure. And I think Virginia Madsen does a great job of balancing. She's empathetic, she's intelligent, she has a bit of a chip on her shoulder. You see that in that scene, and then she gets mansplained Candyman by even whiter person,
Hmm.
which was even more
Oh
hilarious
yeah, yeah.
in that
That's.
moment.
Hmm.
Um, and then like she sells the fringes of her sanity. Like even that moment where she comes back home after she escapes the asylum to find her husband already moved in with his young student who's painting the walls. And there's like Madsen sells like there's some vengeance on her face, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of
Well,
pain and
yeah.
anger.
Well, and then you kind of counterbalance that a little bit with the trauma that has happened for Candyman as well, because like the backstory that we have for him is that he's like you said, he's from higher society. He's very talented in the arts, so he's an artist, and he falls in love with a white woman, gets her pregnant, and her dad just hires this ruffian mob to brutally murder this man in perhaps like the worst three-step process ever. It's like, I'm going to saw your right hand off and replace it with a hook. We're going to smother you in honey and have the bees sting you to death. And then we're going to burn your body alive. Like, or burn your body. It's like, oh, well,
These
that's,
also, what's the point of the hook? Like, you already chopped this man's hand off. Why'd you have to throw a hook in there?
I'm,
Um,
I'm assuming now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that that's probably a way just to mutilate him, since like if he's an artist and he uses a paintbrush or something along those lines, and
that
then
is that's a very good point.
you replace the hand with something that can't hold up a paintbrush, and that is the antithesis of what art is. It's creation versus something that causes destruction.
Well, he certainly makes his own brand of art.
Yes,
The rest of this movie, in blood.
very much so. Just so much blood in this between that dog and like all the people that he kills, even the scene where they show like briefly show what happened to that boy with an intellectual disability and oh in that bathroom, like that's quick, but that's painful to see.
I'd also like to point out that Ted Raimi's in the opening scene in this. Sam
It's
Raimi's brother,
the
is we're
the
just like
the guy, yeah,
that does the
he's the bad
Candyman
boy.
thing.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah,
bad boy.
which is hilarious. It's Ted Raimi.
Yeah.
Who's also like J. Jonah Jameson's assistant. Um, by in all the Spider-Man movies.
Mm,
Oh man, this this lived up to the hype for me. I thought this was a really well made, poignant film about racism and classism and how it navigates gentrification. And I love how that all carried over
mm,
into Nia DaCosta's
mhm.
legacy sequel for this. I need to rewatch that again because and the she ups the ante with the visuals
Oh
in that
yeah.
film to a whole other level. And it makes a lot more sense this time around what winds up happening to Yahya Abdul Mateen in it.
Yeah.
And then after watching this, I'm like, oh, so this is
That's
passed on to people.
that's how that happens. Okay. Yeah. Um One last thing I'll say about Candyman, the music. The music is just
Yes.
so creepy. And when I did an episode of Franchise Paradiso where I did movie scores for horror movies, this is one of the first ones that I brought up because this like the music for this just gets me and it feels almost gothic in a
Mm.
lot of ways with the piano intro and then um just it just feels like it's cathedral music as
Mm.
well.
It's fantastic. And this is an iconic film for sure. Well, now let's shift gears. There's still Hooks and there's still Helen. Um, but this one's a little schlockier, and that is I Know What You Did Last Summer. Um, can this get more 90s than starring Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe, and Freddie Prinze Jr.?
No, it can't. I mean, can't forget
And
Johnny Galecki and
and written
Hayes.
yeah, and written by Kevin Williamson.
Yeah,
So
that's that is as 90s as it gets. Even just some of the stuff that's in it, like giant laptops and landline phones. Ew. Um, yeah, it's crazy.
but this is four young friends bound by a tragic accident are reunited when they find themselves being stalked by a hook wielding maniac in their small seaside town. The fisherman killer.
Yeah, Fisherman Killer, right? Wait, so we're not talking about the 2025 one? We're talking about like the original one? Oh,
So
hmm.
what's so funny is I watched that Legacy sequel before I watched this one too. And you know, should I spoil something from that movie?
Yeah,
So,
go for it. Because
so
because
listeners,
it's
if you
related.
listeners, if you really care about me spoiling the 2025 I Know What You Did Last Summer, skip a couple minutes because because me thinking, wow, how could they do this to all of the people that love this franchise and make Freddie Prinze Jr. one of the killers in the new one?
Well,
And then I watched this movie and he's a main suspect the whole entire time and he's super suspicious. And I'm like, and
well,
then I'm like, wait a minute. Like, he's sketchy as hell this whole entire movie. So why this surprise people?
yeah, this
It,
he
honestly,
would.
Mike, it's almost on the same level as when I finally watched How I Met Your Mother because I only watched the last season of How I Met Your Mother, and he winds up with Rob, and everybody's mad. And then I re binged watched the whole show, and I'm like, the whole entire show is about him and Robin. So then, what are we mad about? So it's just like I feel
Fair.
like in hindsight, people shouldn't have been mad that Freddie Jr. was one of the killers in the new one.
No, they shouldn't have because he was just fulfilling the prophecy that was laid before him in the first one, which
Well, because he is sketchy as hell this whole entire movie. He doesn't communicate. He does
Mhm.
things behind their back, and he acts weird.
Yep. Well, like even up until the very end, um, between everything that happens on his boat and then everything that happens with like uh David Egan's sister, where he like,
Yeah,
oh, I went to visit, and then the creepy confession at the end where he's like, I love you, Julie. It's like I always have like, and what brings them together? They just get each other because they have trauma in each.
they get
Okay.
together because it's Freddie Prinze Jr. and it's Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Well, the irony that Sarah Michelle Gellar is here too, that she
Yeah,
ends up being his wife down the road. I think that's hilarious.
it was destined. They did this and they did Scooby Doo together. Like it was just gonna happen.
Mhm.
Um, Also, side note, this is not a spoiler that Jennifer Love Hewitt's in the new one because she was in all the advertising.
Reviews.
People giving her crap about being curvy.
How dare you?
She is
She's doing just fine for herself.
she's doing more than fine, Mike.
I
Uh,
agree. I agree for sure.
real men appreciate Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Amen to that.
I don't know if she did a great job acting in the movie, but like
I mean,
looks great.
is
In the new one,
is it
to be
is,
frank.
is it on par with how she kind of normally acts though? Like kind of.
Here's the thing. Um, Not to denounce a whole generation of actors, but the vast majority of these like big 90s stars were big stars because they were hot.
How dare you point out the accuracy of that? I mean,
How
I,
dare
I,
you point out the obvious?
I mean, the only one that kind of broke out of that mold a little bit was Reese Witherspoon, right? Like,
Well, and she was even like at the tail end of that too. Um, Actually, you know what? I had a whole conversation with somebody about when did Reese Witherspoon become famous as an actor, and I'm like, I guess it was, but like I guess she's technically part of this group too. But like,
because
I'm not gonna say.
I remember the first thing that I saw her in was Cruel Intentions,
I think that's it.
and then
And
after that was when she started to do the romantic comedies, and
Legally Blonde.
yeah, so
I think she did one of these movies and then jumped right into something else. But anyway, I'm not gonna say this movie's full of great acting.
no, no,
Um,
it's
but they're
however,
very hot actors that they
right.
just sprinkled in this movie.
So I agree with you. The acting is not great. However, to give like them 5% credit on this, the script is horrendous. This
Which
dialogue
this
is
Kevin Williamson,
awful. This
and
is
it's disappointing.
awful. Yeah.
He wrote Scream,
Yeah.
which is like, and H20, H2O, like the good Halloween movie, probably the best Halloween movie af- after like the second one
Maybe. Yeah.
until they rebooted it.
Hmm.
So like, yeah, this script is because like obviously I've never seen this. I don't have the nostalgia of this. I don't think this is
I
a good movie.
It's not
Like,
a good movie. It's
it's
not
not
a
a
good
good movie.
movie. This doesn't make a lick of sense. And also, this is just playing off just so many horror tropes like, hey, make sure that the body's dead and make sure and suspect everybody and how yeah, there's just a lot here. Here's I saw this movie in theaters and I saw this at like a little independent theater.
Uh-huh.
And this was in the 90s where somebody came in dressed as a fisherman, walked down the center aisle, and just walked back up. And everyone lost their minds because they thought it was so creepy and it thought it was so cool. You would never be able to get away with doing that today because
No.
somebody, somebody would either report that person or like somebody would pull out a gun and shoot that person. Like I'm
Like
convinced of that.
ever since the Dark Knight Rises
Oh
incident,
yeah, absolutely.
like my brother couldn't even wear his Kylo Ren mask to AMC. They made him like not wear the helmet.
Yeah.
Like he wore everything else, but like, but
I remember because that to me is the biggest memory that I have from this movie. Because
that is wild.
I was like, what the hell is this? Like, it was creepy and it was fun, but also,
Did they work for
def
the theater or was this a
yeah,
random person?
it,
Okay,
they worked for the theater. They thought that it was just something fun and interactive to do.
I would have
And it
lost my
worked.
shit.
It worked. It scared the shit out of all of us, but it was also like again, that's just a relic from the 90s. You cannot do that. You cannot in good consciousness get away with that today. But the movie overall, this movie's so stupid. And like the
So
reason the reason why it's stupid is because these four people are just horrible friends to one another. Ryan Phillippe, like his name shouldn't have been Barry. It should have been Gaslighter. That's all he does throughout the course of this whole movie. Freddie Prinze Jr. is sketchy throughout the course of this whole movie. But the one thing that I will give this movie a little bit of credit for is that it does show the effects of traumatic events and how this affects everybody's day-to-day life because the life that all these like the dreams and ambitions that all these
mhm.
kids had before they allegedly accidentally murdered this person on the side of the road. um they had very different dreams and ambitions. And then a year later, you see that they're all kind of struggling a little bit. And that's something that I do appreciate. Not enough for me to think that this movie's good, but at least
Yeah,
rewatching this again, I was like, okay, well, at least they tried to do something like that.
like it shows that there are actual consequences to
Mhm.
trauma, and that's appreciated.
Yeah.
Like there is one scene in this movie that I think fully encompasses how dumb this movie is and how
Okay.
much this doesn't make sense. So, Julie
Yeah.
opens a trunk and there's a dead body and a sea of crabs.
Filled with crabs. Yes. Mhm.
I don't know how far she ran
How long she was gone.
or how
Could,
long she was gone.
couldn't have been for that long.
And she comes back and there's no body and no crabs. How much time would it have taken to take each? You have to grab those crabs individually, or like they're all like snapping into you. Like, how?
It's not
How?
like you could just release them into the wild and just hope for the
I
best.
I like stopped while watching this movie. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I turned to Jess. I'm like, this makes literally no sense.
Hmm.
And it's just for the effect. If I'm
What
so like
effect? Like how is this effective? Because
then
yeah,
bully, and it's like the most iconic part of the movie. We're just spinning in circles. It's so dumb.
yeah, yeah.
And
Um,
I'm just like, this is the kind of movie we're watching here.
yeah. Well, there's three things about this movie because I've only seen this movie like three times, and the third time that I've seen this was today because I rewatched it.
Uh,
So the first thing that I noticed is, boy, Helen's idea of world peace or like way that she's going to contribute to society is to be on Guiding Light, like a soap opera, really, and she's going to change the world through artistic expression. Like, how shallow can you be? You're the Slayer. Like, what is this?
okay.
Um, Number two, this is ticky tack, but I feel like I'm in a safe space, so I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
The note that is left for Julie. I know what you did last summer. No, no, no. I know what you did last summer because there's an exclamation point at the end of that. Like, I, why? Why? And then the last thing, the end, the very end of this. where Julie and Ray have gotten back together. She's all happy and um they're talking about, ravaging each other when they get back or when she gets back to New York. And then the sequel Beatty end where it says, I still know. Like, what the hell
Now,
is
I have to
this?
give it A plus for sequel title because, like, I love, like, you know, I was just talking to Rowan about this for anticipated movies for next year. No, it's not Ready or Not 2. Here I come. It's Ready or
You're
Not.
not
Here
here
I
I
come.
come. Yeah.
Perfect. I still know what you did last summer. Great. It's so dumb and it's hilarious. But the crashing through the glass
Hmm.
and it just cutting to like a 90s song.
Oh, the soundtrack to this is the most aggressively 90s soundtrack on the face of the planet. But
I thought of like I didn't think American Pie could be topped
oh,
for
this
being
is
like being late 90s, early aughts
well,
music.
see, the American Pie soundtrack to me is like the good representation of this, and then this
Then there's
is
this.
is not. But they actually do explain that scene away in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Have you ever seen that movie?
Oh, so the only I Know What You Did Last Summer movie that I had seen before watching this is the Legacy sequel that came out in 2025. So
So
like I know Brandy is in the second one because Brandy's in
in the poster,
after the credit
but
scene of
you
the
know,
new one.
but you know who else is in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer? Jack Black as Rastafarian guy on an island resort. And like watch it for that alone because it is offensive just how ridiculous Jack Black is in that movie.
Oh my god. I feel bad because I know there's a lot of people who love 90s slashers who love this movie, but like this is like poor man's Scream. This has
Oh
all
yeah.
the tropes that Scream made fun of. Like I feel like Randy would make fun of this movie from start to finish because how tropey it is. You all can't see it because this is an audio podcast, but Mike just showed me dreadlock Jack Black.
Dreadlock Jack Black who's smoking a joint. Yeah, watch it for that and that
Wow.
alone because that's
Wow.
that story doesn't make a lick of sense. And I still know what you did last summer. Yeah, that's yeah, it's all good.
Well, Mike, do you have anything else to add about this movie?
I do I do find it funny that Barry, who's Ryan Phillippe's character, he gets run over by a car. Julie gets this note that says, I know what you did last summer, and she feels very exposed. Um, Helen, who's Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, she gets her hair cut. Like, oh, okay, that's a choice right there. And then Ray, who's Freddie Prinze Jr., gets nothing. Like when he says like, "Oh, I got a letter," it's like, "Did you? Did you?" Because
Did you?
yeah, yeah.
I will say, especially compared to the Legacy sequel, the actual event is something that would traumatize these people,
Yeah.
and there'd be a lot of guilt because they killed somebody.
Hmm.
Or I guess at this point, spoiler alert, they did it.
Allegedly almost killed somebody, but then
Because he didn't die and then he's trying to kill all of them.
yeah,
And I'm just like, that that was dumb. That like that reveal, I was just like, are you kidding me?
yeah, yeah.
And then that they almost killed a killer.
Well, it's hilarious to me that Julie spent all this time trying to do research about who this guy was, and she's operating under this premise the whole time that David Egan is the guy that they killed. And then the
They
big
didn't even
revelation that
confirm
she,
that.
oh no, no. This is pre-internet days, so it's well, kind of, it's early internet days rather.
Yeah.
But I love the realization that she comes to where she's like, "Oh my God, it's not him." And then that just like changes everything. And it's like, "Oh, you you all are idiots."
So in the Legacy sequel, the call to action event is that one of them drunkenly stumbles out into the street and a car swerves.
Yeah.
So like they didn't kill somebody. Like that was just an accident.
Yeah.
Like and I'm like, this is something that destroyed all their lives that they needed to cover up and everything. So like they just muted so many
Well,
things from this original film and this Legacy sequel.
well, all these snowflake kids just but you know what's funny is that
Well,
this
actually,
movie
it's the same thing as Mean Girls because I watched the new Mean Girls and was like, they're like the kind. It shouldn't be called Mean Girls. It's kind of like kind of abrasive girls
Mhm.
because like they're
Yeah,
not even like hardcore bullying in this. I'm
they're
like,
not,
damn,
yeah, they're
these
nowhere
kids
near as
don't know
bad.
what real
He's
bullying is unless it's on the internet.
You
Because like
don't know.
online bullying is really bad nowadays and absolutely terrible because the internet sucks. But like I
The physical bullying where you have to like where you're like terrified at the person that is like coming towards you and you have to see this person every day. That sucks too. That's not like as bad as like online bullying, but it's pretty high up there.
well, they did real bullying in the original Mean Girls. I
Right.
just like the legacy sequel to this lost the bite because
Mhm.
it didn't have something because like I guess they were trying to make the characters not as unlikable, but
Well,
like
I don't
you
know
need
about
them
that.
to do something really bad. That's the whole entire point of this.
Mhm.
But anyway,
Yeah.
any final thoughts on I know what you did last summer?
My only other thought is I cannot believe that this movie spawned a theatrical sequel, a direct to DVD sequel, a TV show, and a legacy sequel. Like I don't understand how this happened, but fuck this movie. Like right, like that's all I'm gonna say about this. Like
I did not enjoy my time watching this movie, and I would much rather watch literally every single Scream movie over and over and over again before I came back to this one.
yes,
So,
the worst Scream movie is still better than well, I don't know. I would probably say this is probably about on par with Scream 3, but you know, whatever.
but that is all. Those are all of our thoughts as we, really dug in, got sunk our hooks in to discussing these two slasher flicks from the 1990s. But Mike, thank you as always for coming on and chatting movies with me.
I love getting a chance to talk to you. I'm hooked on it. So thanks for having me on, as always, Shane.
I got my hooks in Mike. He'll be back next month as we discuss the adventures of Robin Hood and Captain Blood. So now for something completely different.
Mhm.
Um, and next week, Luke and I are going to be discussing Meet Me in St. Louis and A Star is Born, the 54 version with Judy Garland, because two Judy Garland musicals coming your way.
Mhm.
But thank you all for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What is your favorite 90s slasher flick, and why is it Scream? Um, or honestly, Candyman's kind of up there too. So
Mhm. Yeah.
just not, I know what you did last summer.
No.
Um, but make sure to follow and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPDM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. We have so many great shows, all different types of interest. If you love movies, we definitely have that. And if you're interested in joining the crew as a guest on one of these shows, or you have an idea for your own podcast, make sure to reach out to us on our website. And if you like our logo, check out High Flyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.